Chairman Mrs. Ryan, Professor Sapna Pokley, distinguished delegates, guests, my colleague, dear students, ladies and gentlemen. It's my privilege to welcome you to this IILM HR conference on unleashing the potential of women at workplace, the business imperative. For the inaugural session, I would request Mr. Pete Walkanath and Mr. Raj Nehru to please come to the stage. It's a well-acknowledged fact that the ultimate barometer of development and progress of a civilization or a society is the way it treats its women. All across the history, wherever women have been given place of honor and empowered to get things done, that society has invariably done far better compared to other countries and other societies in the world. In this context, IILM Institute for Higher Education is holding this conference to discuss various aspects and perspectives of unleashing the potential of women at workplace. Before I give you the overview of the conference, I will just take 2-3 minutes to introduce IILM to some of you who may not be fully aware of it. This institution was established in 1993. This year we are 21 years old. And now we have 3 campuses in National Capital Region of Delhi, apart from this campus, which is the smallest in terms of size. We have much larger campuses at Golf Course Road, Gurgaon, and Knowledge Park, Greater Noida. We are among the 28 business schools from all over the world which have been given business school champion status by United Nations Global Compact PRME initiative. PRME initiative is a Principles for Responsible Management in Education, and it keeps its focus on developing leaders for tomorrow who have sensitivity and awareness towards sustainability, environment, good work practices, and all other related areas which make an organization a responsible citizen of the world. We are also accredited by SACS, South Asian Quality Systems, which is an Indian affiliate of EFMD, European Foundation for Management Development. And we are among the 14 schools in Southeast Asia who have been given this status. Other schools in this list include XLRI Jamshedpur, Management Development Institute Gurgaon, IMI, Wellinkers Bombay, and some of the other top-notch business schools in the country. For this, we owe a lot of gratitude to our faculty members and our students who have proven themselves and have acting now as worthy ambassadors of IILM. A little bit about our today's conference. After this opening session, we will be having 4 sessions which are titled Dimensions Across Generations. We all know the world is changing at a fast pace, and we need to also change the way we interact and the way we need to manage our workforce, especially related to women. All over the world, women are now playing have a higher percentage, and in some countries they are even more than 50% of the employed workforce. How to make best use and optimum contribution from women can make a word of difference in a business organization and could be the deciding factor in success of the organization. Our second section is on many paths to flexibility, employee perspective. We can talk a number of things, but we need to understand people who are running the show, what is in it for them, and if they are convinced that it makes sense to unleash the power of women, they will definitely go for that and take steps for rapid growth of their organization. Third session is on flexibility and diversity, hallmarks of great employers. Most of the things, decisions taken in business are contextual. So at times we have to be very firm. At times we have to take steps which allow built-in flexibility to ensure maximum contribution from the women workforce. And in the last session, we will be focusing on the way forward, tools and techniques. So it will be basically summing up what's the best way to go ahead in achieving the unleashing the potential of women at workplace. Now I would request Mr. Dwarkanath to deliver his address. Mr. Dwarkanath.
Professor Rakesh Chowdhury, my friend Raj, Mrs. Rai, very dear friend for many decades, Dr. Akhil Basrai, and Professor Sapna Bokal, and other distinguished teachers, friends, and young colleagues. Greetings to all of you on this Teachers' Day. I think it's the most appropriate, perhaps, occasion to have this conference one-day workshop. And I need to compliment you, sir, and Mrs. Ray and others in the IILM for having set up this conference today, which is not only auspicious, very relevant and contextual. I think when we're talking about the women at workplace, unleashing the potential, I think it goes without saying. I think we are very fortunate to be at the right time at the right place, especially the younger generation. This country has got a lot of potential, and one of the greatest assets of our country today, which at the cost of reputation would like to say, as all you are aware, it is the young employee force. We have the employees' dividend, what we call, which we should try to unleash and take advantage of it, and we can become a superpower, global economic power, is a matter of time. I think if you want to make economic growth, it can't be done alone. It has to be done through social justice. I think that's what we're talking about. I'm not saying, start saying in a negative sense. I, as a HR guy, always look half glass full rather than half glass empty. Whatever has happened, let us forget. There is a famous quote from Psalm of Life. William Henry Longfellow said, "Trust no future, however pleasant. Let the dead past bury its dead. Act in the living present. Heart within and God overhead." I think, let us forget what happened to women, what happened to the society, how India is treated, what happened in the corporate world, what happened in the entrepreneurship. I think we need to make a beginning. There is a great opportunity. Things are changing. We started moving in that direction for some time, but now it's a question of execution. I think people are at the right time at the right place. I think, one change I today see, let me shift the context. I see a lot of diverse speakers. Normally when I attend women leadership programs, normally I find only women leaders talking. I think I need more men audience also here, just talking about women. I feel a lot of speakers with gender diversity is there. That's a great great move, and I think we should continue to do it. I think it's not only women who should realize, I think it's also men who should realize. I think the messages, women are aware and they're trying to do it, but they need the support of the society, the family, the corporate, the business groups, and so on and so forth. I think when we're talking about the women, we talk about them as the teachers, we see them as stereotyping. I think we see them as the nurses, we see them as the doctors, we see them in the hospitality, media, or entertainment. But I think there are many other opportunities which they can really unleash their potential, provided you give them the opportunity. I think when in India, as a democratic nation, talks about equal opportunities, no discrimination on grounds of sex, gender, and race, and religion, and so on. But having said that, I think where are we? Is it a phenomenon of only our country, or is it a phenomenon globally? I think you will be surprised, sir, you were talking about the growth. For many, many years, you can go and do it in Google, for many, many years, one of the most advanced countries in terms of GDP is Switzerland, right? Switzerland did not have right to vote for women till 1996. So I think, there is now the awareness have come. I think we need to move on and we need to make it as a sort of a inclusive growth. I think if you talk today HR or a management, I think it's very important before you get into the core aspects of the functional expertise. I think we need to have the overall aspect of an organization, how the businesses run, how the corporates run on their functions. I think it's very important from that aspect. We need to have a bearing on the fact that it is important to have an inclusive growth as India is known for unity in diversity. I think diversity is a necessity today. It is not something nice to have, it is need to have if you want an inclusive growth and economic growth through social justice. I think this is all what we are trying to address it. Then how to do what are the mechanisms? I think it is where the important aspect which I would like to focus here is the culture. The culture of the organization, the culture of the country, the mindset of the people. There is a saying which says, culture eats strategy for breakfast. Any students, if you are, who would like to say who has said this? Culture eats strategy for breakfast. None other than Peter Drucker. Okay, what does it mean? Ultimately, it's a mindset of the people. It is your partner, it is your family, it is your boss. This world is dominated, no doubt, but the old boys network, glass ceiling, and you have family commitments, work-life balance, and child care, elder care, and so many others. I mean, women in India, especially as compared to most of the other countries, especially in Asian countries, have a multiple role to play. I think as an employers, as a professional bodies, we need to understand. And when we're talking about this, we try to arrive at solutions, which is also not right. I think, okay, I will give flexi workings. I just give you an example. When we started flexi working in GlaxoSmithKline, way back in '94, I think, now in retrospect we see, first we started giving only for ladies. And then men have started saying, what is wrong? I said, you have a maternity leave, we have given paternity leave. I mean, it may not be the same, but it's done. Then we said, yes, I think flexi working is ours. Maybe the husband is sitting at home taking care of the child and wife is working. So there are factors, which we need to say. I think having said that, today, most of the women in the corporate world, if they say that I'm giving you a sort of a special policy addressed to women, they are not taking it. And they say it's demeaning. I think, this is something, which we need to understand, especially with the Gen Y. He said, why should you discriminate me? I want to compete with men on equal footing. I have no issues. But I think don't overreact here. I think there are aspects which has nothing to do with the corporate. It's a societal things. How many years is taking us to relax night shift working and the Factories Act? I don't know still where it's lying. 1948 Factories Act been said you can't work in the night shift, and now they made an amendment. I think it's been passed, still getting the approval and so on. But it's taking us 70 years to get the laws changed. So this is a mindset issue which people have to understand, and we need to keep moving. I think maybe the baby boomers were addressing in a different way, more a paternalistic fashion. The youngsters like Raj will look at very differently. I think, saying, the world is changing, we need to change. You want to become a global citizen, you need to give equal opportunities. I think you need to provide opportunities which are equal. But before we go there, let us see what are a couple of issues which you face. I think one of the issues fundamentally I would like to focus, it will cover in the next following sessions, is the midterm crisis for the women leadership, especially I'm talking the corporate world. I think when they started their career, they are fine. At some stage, I think they have other other family obligations to perform. When they take a break, it becomes very difficult for them to get back into the full stream career, and they feel that they are discriminated here. And there I tend to agree. I think most of them ask me in my vast experience, and Akhil Bhai will be able to reinforce it. They said, if I take a break, will my career be impacted? I think, GlaxoSmithKline, we always used to say, no, it is not. We'll give you equal opportunity. Take a break, come back. But I think it's important that we need to follow both letter and spirit, this aspect of it. This is one thing, they take off well as a youngsters. At some stage, they have to take the break. When they come back, they feel they are lagging behind and they lose confidence on that. The one message I want to leave, because from my experience, and I would like to say very emphatically, that small things what you do go a long way. I think this is where you need not be paternalistic. You need to make them feel demeaning, but you can do one thing. I just want to give you one example. I think where you say that care element is given to bring that inclusiveness or to support them, which makes them feel glued to an organization. I think I'm talking about GlaxoSmithKline. Way back in 1975, they've introduced a policy in 75. The office used to be at the Jaising Road, YMCA near Banglasar. And in the winter, winters used to be severe in those days, used to set, and central Delhi used to become dark by 6:30. And there used to be a lot of crime. We talk about the crime. At that time, there was no media and like vibrant today. There used to be a lot of crime, especially people have to travel home in three-wheelers and so on. They're finding it extremely difficult. I think this company has introduced a policy saying all the lady employees will be dropped at home through an arranged taxi pool. Not single employee will not travel. At least they will locate based on the locations. They will go together, at least minimum 2. And it has been enforced for so many years. People said, please don't withdraw the scheme. If you want to charge us something, do it. But that has become an emotional bonding. Today, it's very common. Call centers, BPOs and all. But I'm talking about 1975. Till we moved to Gurgaon in 2000, that scheme was available for 25,000. And you may say that I'm trying to be commercial. It is not so. When you talk to any women, it's not only in these word of mouth, these messages spread. This company cares for women and they give opportunities. I think when you go to the campuses, most of the people will say that we prefer this organization. I mean, we have not done any marketing. It was not done with any commercial motive or purpose. But I think the CEO of that company at that time, who is a Britisher, felt that way. I think we should do something. And that is a very small token of gesture. But it goes long way in dealing with the people, how they treat this organization and how it's rated. So I think, it is not that everything you need to give a promotion, you need to give him a special increment, or you need to treat him in a different status. But I think a little bit of support or requirement is given, because especially in the Indian context, where the most of the things are not within your control, it's based on many other external factors, including socio-economical, cultural, family, and so on. So I think this is one thing which needs to be done. I feel there is a lot of change now. I think with especially Gen Y, they become more dynamic, they are prepared to take challenges and risks. The other message to the women leaders, which I would like to, you've got a great talent, you've got great potential, you can outbeat other gender as well. The only thing is instill confidence and ability to take risks. I think, only risk favors brave. In the risk in the sense in terms of telling your viewpoints, not to hesitate, and should not feel that you are a minority. I think, as you know now, a lot of efforts have been made, even under the Companies Act, to bring, at least in all public limited listed companies, women leadership. This should be seen as and should not be seen, something as a reservation or an affirmation, but you should shown as a challenge and see that, it's been done. If you see today, you can quote a few examples, but it will never end there. I think you can say the President of India was a woman, Prime Minister was a woman, now the Speaker is a woman, out of the 5 constitutional positions, top 5. But that's not enough. How many people are there? I think why not more? I think, these are the challenges. If you say today in some sectors, in the corporate world especially, I can talk with some authority, there are a lot of people, especially if you see the banking sector today, the biggest public sector banking is a leader is a woman. Private sector, biggest private sector leader is a woman, and the biggest multinational bank is a woman. So I think, but these are exceptions. Why not be in a manufacturing sector? Why not be in other sectors? It need not be confined to certain sectors. How do you make that, unleash that potential? Is something, which can't be done by one person or it's by one gender. It needs a collaborative effects of both, and also the culture, the change in the mindset of the people, that this is a male-dominated world should go, and women also, if you give equal opportunities, they can also deliver. I think, to conclude, what does it mean? I think it's not only the culture, it's a change in your mindset. Change. I think we need to bring change. Change is relevant to the context. It is no longer a content, but it's the context which is important. And we are moving from a controlling to collaborative approach, and also to make it more work to work-life balance. I think, this is where, you need to bring that shift and give equal opportunities. They will also deliver. So, ultimately it's a change. There are 4 kinds of people. People who watch things happening. The second is people who do not know what's happening. Third is people to whom things happen. But distinguished minority are those who makes things happen. So I think we are in that era to make things happen. So with these few words, I wish this conference a great success, and thank you very much for giving this opportunity.
Mr. Dwarkanath, thank you very much for your very insightful remarks and excellent examples on how to go about unleashing the power of women. It's almost, I think, 15 years ago, I met Managing Director of GSK, and he told me Mr. Dwarkanath was the single most important Indian employee who put GlaxoSmithKline on a firm footing in India. And I think it was primarily because of his sensitivity, because of his understanding of human beings, and just example of how much, they literally revered his talent. Mr. Dwarkanath is very fond of tennis, and as you all know, the mecca of tennis is Wimbledon. And once he was invited for official discussions to UK, and before the discussion started, he was there a day or 2 days before. He said, got a very nice note from boss that we are planning to keep you busy in the afternoon, and along with that there were a few tickets to the Wimbledon's semi-final or something like that. So that just shows, this culture of sensitivity has to permeate down the organization, which makes, because if employees are sensitive and they understand, things get done. One of the Harvard professors recently wrote, he says, men have brute force, but women get a lot more done with their sensitivity and planning. And that's why we have large number of successful women CEOs. What we need to do is follow that support or build that support at middle level and other level also, so that a lot more women get that incentive to be a lot more effective. Thank you, sir. It was really great to listen to you. Now I would request Mr. Raj Nehru. Mr. Raj Nehru is now Director HR of Concentrix organization. Before that, for 6 years, he was HR Primus and guiding the HR framework for IBM Global Process Systems. We have had the privilege of getting associated with IILM earlier also. Now I would request Mr. Raj Nehru to please share with us.
Thank you very much for inviting me here. First of all, I think today is a very auspicious day. And while I was sitting here and while I saw Mr. Akhil Israi and Mr. Dwarkana, it reminded me very immediately, what lucky I am today. And today is also the birthday of Dr. Radhakrishnan, the first Vice President and the second President, I guess, of the country. And to me, it's a privilege to be next sitting to Mr. Akhil Israi and Mr. Dwarkana, because when we were young, entered into the profession, so we looked up to these people guiding us, and I had never thought that I'll be sitting next to them and today, addressing the audience here. So
just wondering why this is here.
So great honor. I think it was a lucky day for me. So thank you very much, IILM, for inviting me here. With your permission, and thanks Mrs. Rai for inviting here. Mrs. Sapna Popli, thank you very much, and Mr. Rakesh. The subject that you have picked up, it has its own history, and when we talk about women, what strikes to my mind is something very natural that our nature has blessed us with, and even science today is talking about it. And what I am going to talk before we move into the realms of the subject is, where is this concept of men and women coming in? We come from a country which has its cultural relations with this subject, and many of you people who believe in some of the religious discourses, we still talk about the Ardhanarishwar, right? Where you have half of the body represented as men and the half of the body represented as women. So it is it's a metaphor to demonstrate two sets of energies, two sets of thought processes. And today science also supports this theory. And if most of you have read, we have theories of right brain and left brain, which is propounded by Dr. Roger Speedy many years back, and it talks about the two sets of thought processes in a human body. And it was further taken by the management experts like Dr. Ned Herman, who further metaphor into four quadrants of thinking, which is the upper left, lower left, upper right, lower right. Now, what does this left and right thinking signify? This right and left thinking signifies, so left brain thinking from the concept of left brain is, it's more rational, more mathematical, more numeric, more structured, more organized. This is what the left brain is believed to be as per science of thinking. And right brain is more about vision, feeling, empathy, relationship. So these are two sets of thinking in human body. And these are two sets of thinking in two areas of brain, which is your left brain and right brain. And these two brains are connected by a set of nerves which is called corpus callosum. So I don't want to term here as a doctor, because I'm not a doctor, but I'm giving you some thought processes because it's part of management education these days. That corpus callosum is the connector between the left brain and right brain, and it helps balance the thinking. If you look at the right brain, left brain research, it will show you among women, corpus callosum is 26% bigger than the men, right? Which is letting the balance of thinking between right and left brain. Now, between right and left and the upper and lower, there is called prefrontal cortex. Now, prefrontal cortex is part of your upper left and lower left brain. Now, upper left is more on rational thinking, upper right is more on visionary thinking. So when it gets combined, it creates more strategic kind of a thought process. And in women, this prefrontal cortex develops faster than men. And because of this prefrontal development so early among women, the consequential thinking is faster and higher than any other species. The third part is the limbic system, which is the lower left and the lower right. Now, limbic system is more around empathy and more around structure. Now, limbic system also develops faster and it's larger among the women because the limbic system as compared to men is bigger. So because it's bigger, the emotional storage is higher among the women. So scientifically, where this energy flows in the body, which is brain, the concept of brain and the thinking is an evidence that among the women, there are certain advantages when it comes to thinking. And culturally we have this, it's not something new to the culture that we come from. So nature has its own ways of expressing this energy in the form of a man and a woman. And if you take the other parts of science, like for example, you have 1 unit of oxygen and 2 units of hydrogen. It makes H2O, water, right? You have 1 unit of oxygen or 2 units of carbon dioxide. It makes carbon dioxide. But if you alter this, if you make 1 unit of oxygen and only 1 unit of carbon dioxide, what does it make? Carbon monoxide. It's poisonous, right? Just altering 1 unit. Similarly, when you alter with the concept of nature, what nature has provided you, you actually can create problems for yourself. And when I was looking at some of the studies that McKinsey has done, organizations where you have women in the corporate executive boards, where the numbers are higher, where the responsibilities are higher in the women, 47% of such organizations have shown positive scores in their return on equity. And almost 57% of the organizations have shown positive scores on average earnings per year. And this is an indicator of when you are leveling these two sets of thinking, these two sets of energies in the organization. If you look at some of the other researches that are around, I'm just setting a context around it. The organizations that have conducted a couple of studies like Women Matters, they have seen that more than 66% companies who have invested in diversity measures but have not resulted into a significant impact. What is the reason? Why are not organizations able to generate, when they are investing in these initiatives related to allowing or creating some forward opportunities for the women, why are not these organizations making any progress? Two things which have clearly emerged is that one is the mindset and the corporate culture. Now, organizations are investing, the organizations are showing various initiatives that they have tailored around letting the women develop at workplace. One of the biggest drawback that is preventing them is the mindset, the corporate culture. The second is the implementation measures. So while initiatives are there, but the way these initiatives get implemented in the organization are not rightly taken. There's no right set of governance to ensure that what we are designing to let women progress at workplace, there's no governance around it. And when it comes to mindset, I was looking at a couple of examples that prevent at workplace is you have leadership styles sometimes at workplace which are not complementary. And complementary in the sense of, for example, decision making. Most of the women, they prefer participative management in decision making. While as at the workplace, participative management may not be seen as a positive sign of decision making, because most of the men prefer at workplace, you take the decision and you make the shots. But some of the participative decisions style that a woman executive or a woman manager would want to demonstrate may not be seen positively. So it is one of the barriers in corporate culture. While we talk about women being given opportunities at workplace, do we really practice it? Because the style of a different gender would be different. Similarly, the same organization, when it conducted a couple of more researches, it found that when it comes to ambition between men and women, almost the data indicated both men and women had the same levels of ambition in excelling at workplace. But then what it is that is preventing, when both the sets of people have same set of ambition, what is preventing them? What they found is that the confidence, when they compared the levels of confidence among the men and women, they found that confidence was almost 12 to 20% lesser than men. Now, confidence here doesn't mean the confidence in the dictionary term. In the research, what they have found as a confidence is perception of chances of success at workplace. So, women's perception of the chances of success in the current environment is what they call it as confidence. So as a woman, I may be thinking, I have ambition, I want to reach that top level of the management, but I don't see that this environment will actually facilitate that process. So organizations, they actually need to see why our women folks, they're having these challenges. It may be because of the culture, it may be because of the environment. I come from an organization which has got almost 40% of women employees. I have a team of almost 50 people, and I'm proud that I have 60% of women as part of my team. And honestly telling you, the amount of energy and amount of thought process and the amount of creativity and innovation that comes from these team members is phenomenal. I don't think I would be able to ever make any stride in the area of HR that I am leading today without the kind of diverse views that comes from these resources. Now, at tactical level, at operational level, and at strategic level, there are three things that as an organization we also promote today. Say, for example, we talked about Factories Act 1948. We still are struggling. The government is trying to work on it. But thankfully, this industry that I come from, we don't have that challenge of night workforce, which is from the women workforce. They come in the night shift. But at the operational level, basic hygiene, say for example, transport we provide to women. Many companies think they have provided night transport and that is sufficient. But that is not sufficient. And night transport has multiple challenges which an organization has to ensure, because that builds the confidence of a woman employee coming to workplace. Why will a father let a woman come to office in the night shift despite knowing that there's a transport available from the company, knowing so many incidents are happening these days? So as an organization, it's my responsibility that in the window of night shift, when I provide transport, I'm talking about a very tactical thing, very basic thing. How can I create that confidence? Do I have adequate security measures provided when I'm providing a night shift to my workforce, specifically women? First pickup of women, last drop of women. How is this being managed? Many companies are managing this so casually, but they don't know the consequences of this not being managed very well. How many times when we talk to women and they say, boss, I know I was the last drop, and there was this guy only driver in the cab, and I was feeling very nervous. So she might not have spoken this to many people, but it is a reason for a woman not wanting to continue with the jobs. So organizations have responded. They have to ensure this is actually ensured in the real spirit at the workplace. Many organizations today are going through biometrics and putting some technology into the cabs. So, for example, if there is slight kind of a sensation that a woman feels in the cab, she can pull the press button in the car, and it can immediately, alert all the system that has been created around it. Many companies, what we do when the woman is dropped in the night shift, the moment she is dropped on the door, there's a call which comes from the call center that we have to ensure that the woman has reached home inside. So it's a step-in call. We call it step-in call. The moment she steps in the house, say at 2 o'clock in the night or 3 o'clock in the night, that window, there's a call going to her. They're very tactical things, which enhances parental confidence, which enhances the women's confidence. We invite parents to workplace and ask them to see how their children, because most of these women are in the age group of 20 till 25. Show them how they are. I will summarize this with 5 things that organizations today really need to focus on. I know you have got so many sessions coming in. I think the one important part is commitment of CEOs, commitment of top leadership when it comes to driving the programs which is around women leadership and ensuring their participation. Second is there should be educate programs which are tailored towards development of women, because there will be multiple levels in the hierarchy where you want women to develop. So largely at lower levels where you have got higher numbers of women, we organize programs. But as women grow, we need to increase the programs which are more stronger, more effective when women grow in the hierarchy. So that level is the challenge today with the management teams to design programs. Policy changes. So many policies today, restrict some of the aspects which become an obstacle. So policy change level organizations really need to look at. And the most important part is governance, reviewing it and ensuring that what we have targeted for an organization when it comes to women development, we are achieving it. So if all these aspects are tailored together, I'm sure women will be given the right set of environment at a workplace to grow and develop. Thank you.
Thank you very much for giving a very comprehensive amalgamation of biological background to practical factors related to women employees. Your definition of confidence was beautiful, perception of success, which really needs, dependent on culture, the way employers treat the women employees. If they can do a great job, if you believe you will succeed, chances are you will definitely succeed. So I think that's the crux of unleashing the potential of women. There are a number of steps involved, a number of small things involved. Like there's a famous quote which says, small things make perfection, but perfection is no small thing. So unleashing the power of women is also something in similar framework. At the end of this session, I would like to convey my sincere thanks to Mr. Dwarkanath and Mr. Nehru for providing excellent framework for today's conference. Before we start our next session, we will take 5 minutes break. I would request all the students to kindly continue to be in the auditorium. And thank you very much again, sir, Mr. Dwarkanath. Thank you.